You're at a house party, not the movies kind with a live band and a pool full of people you don't recognize. Just a normal Friday night at somebody's rental house. Red cups, bad speakers, a game of King's Cup that's been going for 2 hours because nobody wants to be the one who says we should probably stop. You've had a rough week, midterms, a breakup, a boss who won't stop texting you on your day off. Tonight's supposed to be the release valve. Someone hands you a shot, you do it. Someone hands you another, you do that one too. By the time the game wraps up, you've lost count somewhere around drink number 9, and honestly, counting stopped mattering a while ago. You feel untouchable. Loud music, good friends, zero problems. This is the best you felt all week. So when somebody suggests one final round before the pizza gets here, you don't even hesitate. Oh, hey there. I'm your host, technically deceased, here to walk you through something that kills more people every year than most folks realize. Mostly because it doesn't look like dying. It looks like a good night. That went a little too far. Let's talk about alcohol poisoning, and let's find out exactly what your brain does in the hours before it forgets how to keep you alive. Quick myth check before we get into the biology, because there's a lot of bad information floating around about this one. Myth: sweating it out, walking it off, or drinking water fixes a dangerously drunk person. False. There is exactly one thing that lowers your blood alcohol level, and that's time. Your liver processes roughly one standard drink an hour, no faster, no matter what you do. Myth. Passing out means you're just sleeping it off. False. And this is the dangerous one. Sleep and unconsciousness are not the same event. One you can wake someone from. The other you can't, and the difference between the two can be the difference between a rough Saturday morning and a funeral. Myth. You have to be drinking liquor for this to happen. Beer is basically safe. False. Ethanol is ethanol. Your brain doesn't care what container it came in. It just cares how much of it is in your bloodstream. So what's actually happening in there? Alcohol is a depressant, which is a clinical way of saying it slows your nervous system down. It boosts a neurotransmitter called GABA, which is a chemical in your brain responsible for calming things down. And it dampens glutamate, the chemical responsible for revving things up. That combination is why a couple drinks in, you feel relaxed, chatty, a little braver than usual. That part's harmless. The problem is your brain doesn't have an off switch for this process. It just keeps happening, drink after drink. And the deeper it goes, the more of your brain it starts turning off. First to go is your frontal lobe, the part responsible for judgment and impulse control, which is exactly why bad decisions start feeling like great ideas around drink number 6. Next is your cerebellum, which handles balance and coordination, hence the stumbling and the sentences that don't quite finish. But underneath both of those is your brainstem. And your brainstem doesn't care about your judgment or your balance. It cares about keeping your heart beating and your lungs moving. And when your blood alcohol concentration climbs high enough, that's the part alcohol comes for next. Let's walk through what that actually looks like, start to finish. In the first hour or two, you're in what most people would call the fun zone. Your blood alcohol is climbing past 0.05, then 0.08, then further. You're warm, confident, a little invincible. Your frontal lobe is already dimming, which is the exact reason the idea of one more shot keeps sounding better instead of worse. Somewhere in hour 2, you cross a line you can't feel yourself crossing. Your coordination goes first. You're bumping into furniture that definitely wasn't there a minute ago. Your words are running together. Your friends laugh it off because drunk and slurring looks the same as drunk and fine, right up until it isn't. Your blood alcohol is pushing past 0.20 now, and you're in blackout range, meaning your brain has basically stopped filing memories. You'll be walking, talking, technically present, and none of it will exist in your head tomorrow. By hour 3, the fun has quietly left the building. You're not laughing anymore, you're sweating, pale, and your stomach is doing something you don't like. Your blood alcohol is somewhere around 0.35, and that number matters, because 0.40 is roughly the level that proves lethal in half the people who reach it. You're not far off. Your breathing, which should be sitting around 12 to 16 breaths a minute, has dropped to 6 or 8, slow and shallow, because your brainstem is struggling to keep the respiratory signal firing through all that ethanol. Somebody's asking if you're okay, you're trying to answer and the words aren't coming out right, and then you stop trying altogether because you've gone limp, not asleep, unconscious. Your friends might not clock the difference right away, and that's the tragedy of this particular death. It looks exactly like someone crashing hard after a big night right up until it doesn't. Hour 4 is where your body runs out of options. Your breathing has slowed to something closer to one shallow breath every 15 or 20 seconds, sometimes with long gaps where nothing happens at all. Your brainstem's respiratory center is so suppressed it's barely firing. Your oxygen levels are dropping, your lips and fingertips are starting to turn a dull shade of blue, and your body's about to hand you one of two exits, and neither of them is good. In the first, your stomach decides this is the moment to empty itself, and because your gag reflex has been switched off along with everything else, none of it comes back up through your mouth. It goes down instead into your airway, into your lungs, and your oxygen saturation collapses in under a minute. In the second, there's no vomiting at all. Your brainstem simply stops sending the signal to breathe. Your chest goes still, and your heart, still running on its own separate electrical system, keeps beating alone in the dark for a few more minutes before it gives up too. Because a heart with nothing to pump isn't a heart doing much of anything. By the time anyone realizes something's genuinely wrong, precious minutes have usually already gone. Paramedics get called, they arrive, they do everything right, but a brain without oxygen for 15-20 minutes doesn't come back the same, if it comes back at all. From first drink to final heartbeat, this whole process usually plays out over 3 to 5 hours, which is the part that should scare you more than anything else here. This isn't fast. There was time. There was so much time to notice, to call someone, to just lay a person on their side and stay in the room. So what does it actually feel like from the inside? Honestly, for most of the night, it feels good. That's what makes it dangerous. There's no dramatic turning point where your body screams at you in a language you can't ignore. It's warmth, then looseness, then a kind of pleasant fog. Somewhere in there, the fog stops being pleasant and starts being heavy. Your stomach turns, your skin goes clammy, and your brain is technically trying to warn you, sending out the nausea, the dizziness, the exhaustion. But those signals are competing against a nervous system that's already half shut down, and they're losing. Then consciousness starts flickering. There, then not. There, then not. And you genuinely can't tell how much time has passed between the flickers. The last clear thing you probably feel is just being unbelievably tired. The kind of tired that isn't really tired at all. It's your brain powering down floor by floor. And then it's just off. Not a fade, not a slow dim, more like someone finding the switch. No fear, no pain, no final scene where you understand what's happening. Because the part of your brain that understands anything is already offline. It's a strangely gentle ending for something this preventable, which somehow makes it worse. Reality check, because the numbers on this one are genuinely wild. Roughly 2,000 people die from alcohol poisoning every year in the United States. That's about 6 people a day, every single day, from something that's completely legal and sitting in a fridge near you right now. Most of them aren't reckless teenagers either. The majority are adults between their mid-30s and mid-60s. Jimi Hendrix, Bon Scott, and a long list of names you'd recognize died exactly the way I just walked you through. Tolerance isn't a fixed number either. It shifts with your weight, your sex, what you ate that day, how fast you're drinking, whether you're exhausted or stressed, which means the amount that left you fine last weekend can absolutely kill you this weekend. And there's no warning label that tells you which night is which. And here's the part that gets people killed more than the alcohol itself. Friends leaving someone to sleep it off because nobody wants to be the buzzkill who calls an ambulance over a college party. You cannot get someone in trouble for drinking by saving their life. You can absolutely lose them forever by deciding it's not that serious. So there you have it. Death by alcohol poisoning, quiet, gradual, and horrifyingly easy to walk into without ever realizing you crossed the line. The good news is this one's almost entirely avoidable. Pace yourself, eat something, drink water between rounds, and if a friend can't stay awake, can't stand, or their breathing sounds wrong, call 911 and put them on their side. That's it. That's the whole intervention, and it works. Be the person who ruins the vibe by making the call. Better an awkward Saturday morning than an empty seat at the table. I'm dead. I've got time. Drop your next death scenario request in the comments. I'm taking suggestions. And for the love of everything, hydrate responsibly.